Hey everyone, it's Grant Winsauer, and I'm back with my group here, and we're gonna recap the Bears and Bills joint practice, talk about the left tackle battle that might be going into the season, and what we want to see from the Bears against the Bills tomorrow night at 6:30. So let's get into that. And I'm actually really excited to hear from Michael because he actually was able to go to that practice. Um, but let's start with that. So, I mean, the Bears have been really good, like in practices. Like, I haven't seen anything where they say like the defense has had a down day or the offense. I mean, the offense might start slow, but the when if they start slow, they end pretty on a high note. But I mean, since Michael went to practice, I'm actually going to let him talk first. So, what did you like that you saw, Michael? And then I'll talk, and then we can talk. We can ask Jack. Um,
Okay. What I liked a lot because I was more on our offensive side. I wasn't really on the defensive side. But with the defense, without our two best corners, we still picked off Josh Allen 3 times.
mm-hmm.
They were they were going crazy. We kind of made. I feel like we outplayed the Bills in practice. I understand it's practice, but we did outplay them. And then on the offensive side, it's very weird. Luther was running with second strings. He was running with the backups, and Zacchaeus was actually Caleb's favorite check down guy, if that makes sense.
No, I've
Like
heard
it's
that they're developing a very good connection. But I'm sorry, finish what you were saying.
and then Rome, insane. He is so good, and it's actually like I'm very happy that we got a receiver like that. He's catching everything. Like Caleb threw so many passes that weren't like caught, except for like Loveland and DJ Moore, obviously, and then his checkdowns. But Rome caught everything and was the only one that scored during practice.
Yeah,
So
I
that's what
mean,
I like.
I think that Caleb and Rome are going to be a very good red zone connection in this upcoming season, and I am all for it, and I'm sure you're all for it too because you have him
All
in
for it.
one fantasy league, and I have him in one. Um,
And
and
two.
I mean, the red zone is going to be very important, and I think it wouldn't be far fetched to say that I think that Rome could go from a 700 and something to possibly 1,000 this year, um, with the connection that he's built with uh, Caleb and this offense that's run by Van Johnson. But Jack, what are your thoughts on what you've seen from Twitter or what you've read
Yeah.
lately?
So I think the Rome Odunze thing is a great thing to highlight. A lot of times you see those top drafted receivers really break out in year two. So that'll be interesting to see. Caleb and him have had 2 off seasons now to mesh. And it seems like both from what Michael saw at camp and from what's being reported, Rome's due for a breakout year. I just like the fact that Caleb didn't throw any turnovers in the joint practice, didn't throw any interceptions or have any turnovers during the joint practice. I think this Bears offense has a lot of playmakers now, a great offensive line, and they're going to be able to score points enough to stay competitive with teams. So limiting those turnovers unless they're on aggressive downfield throws, I think is big for the Bears this year. So I think that was a great takeaway from practice, and I'm interested to see if it carries over in this game tomorrow night, or not tomorrow,
Yeah,
tomorrow's on Sunday.
yeah.
Another
Well,
thing
that's tomorrow night because
I wanna
that is
highlight
at 6:30.
I guess that, yeah, I
another
guess that is.
thing another thing I want to highlight. Ozzy was on the field with the starters at all times. Starters were out. Ozzy was there.
That's
If you
good.
look, he was there.
I mean,
Like
we'll see how that goes because actually, um, the next topic that we're going to talk about, I'll actually get into that right now. So the left tackle position battle is still ongoing and may go into the season. And I think I can speak for everyone here and everyone that is a Bears fan. As much as um, it's possible that that could go into the season, we want it to be figured out before the season. Um, but Ben Johnson said that they could possibly name a starter and then reevaluate at their bye week, which is week 5. So that is relatively early in the season. But I would rather them figure out the long term answer for this season. But actually, there is something that I kind of would like to bring up that I am surprised that they haven't considered. So Ben Johnson did say that when um, Ozzy Trapillo is practicing on the right side, he looks more comfortable. So he is more comfortable playing right tackle. So I'm curious as to why they haven't looked into the possibility of moving Darnell Wright from right tackle to left tackle and having Ozzy play his more natural position. Now, maybe they don't want to do that right now, but maybe they look into that next year. I mean, I'm not necessarily saying that I'm that that's what they should do, but it might be worth looking into if you'd rather have Ozzy Trapilla at right tackle instead of left tackle, because I mean you did spend a second round draft pick on this guy, so that means you have pretty high hopes for him. But Jack, what are your thoughts on that? And then I'll ask Michael that question as well.
Yeah, I think the only thing you risk with doing that is taking Darnell away from a position where he's comfortable. Like he's proven he can be a solid right tackle in the NFL. So I don't love the idea of moving him off that spot just because that can potentially then create two holes in the offensive line. Like if Ozzy doesn't excel at right tackle and Darnell is uncomfortable at left tackle, then you've created problems at both bookends of the offensive line. So I think it is early on for Ozzy getting used to the left side, and that may be why Braxton might get some more playing time than any Bears fans hope once he's healthy. But I think it would be, uh, unless Ozzy has a terrible season this year, I think that's something you maybe revisit next offseason. But Darnell is such a good right tackle that I think you just leave it as is and try and mix and match that left tackle spot until you get the right guy.
I think that's what they'll do, but I just wanted to possibly bring up a solution, you know.
Yeah.
But Michael, what are your thoughts on this? I mean, you've kind of made your thoughts known that you want Braxton out of there, but with no clear leader in the left tackle battle, you might have to uh, you know deal with a couple weeks of Braxton. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, a couple weeks of Braxton was, I think, our easiest schedule at the start. That is our easiest, but that's fine. But we can't move Darnell to left. I know that was just like a hypothetical thing, but he's got to stay at right. I think because he's just more comfortable there and he's been playing there.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's what he was drafted to be. So, but yeah, Ozzy. I think Ozzy has to be out there. That dude looked incredible at camp.
I mean, the dude is 6'8", so it's pretty
He's a big boy.
hard to think about. So, and then our last topic before we probably end today, unless you guys think of something else, is what we want to see from the Bears against the Bills, and we will see their starters for a period of time. I don't know how long. Ben Johnson didn't disclose that. He just disclosed that they will play. But I mean, we've we've I'd like to see how the passing game flows with I'm hoping that it flows as how well we've seen it in practice. I'd like to see an aggressive defense, and since the starters are out there, I'd love to see an interception or two. And I mean, we highlighted it when we talked about this a little earlier, but I'd also love to I love to see the second year connection between Caleb Williams and Roma Dunze. You know, I said that he was targeted a lot in the red zone, and that's true. If this QB and wide receiver connection is as good as the reports say it is, I think that we can take to the bank that Dunze will get 1,000 yards. And I'd like to see how the run game flows, especially behind this starting offensive line, because that they're going to play tomorrow. But I'd also like to see how Caleb and Olamide Zacchaeus connect in game as well, because they had a 45-yard touchdown connection yesterday on a crossing route. I don't necessarily I'm not necessarily saying that I want to see that happen in the game tomorrow, but if I could see a couple of crossing routes turn into 20-yard plays from him and Caleb and Zacchaeus, I'd be pretty happy with that. And I want to see how the run after catch ability is in Van Johnson's offense, because that is one of his biggest threats in his offense. So, Michael, what would you like to see? And then, Jack, I'll ask you the same question.
I want to see. I want to see one touchdown pass from Caleb. I, I think I want to see how he is in a in-game situation, not in practice. And then I want to see how that running game is because they didn't run the ball a lot in practice. A little weird to me. And then obviously, when our starters were out there, I don't want to see the Bills score. So that's that's all.
Yeah, yeah, I think those are all good things to want to see. What about you, Jack?
So I'm really looking forward to seeing Jaquan Brisker, assuming he plays on the defensive side of the ball. Obviously, we lost the whole second half of his season, well, more than this whole second half of his season. So that's a big key for us to keep him healthy this year. Like both of you guys have mentioned, I'm curious to see how the run game is utilized, whether or not it's Swift receiving, like Swift being an every down back this year, whether we see Roshan coming in for short yardage, or even Manangai coming in as needed for whatever purpose they see. Uh, and then as well, I just want to see how the secondary holds up. I know they're not fully healthy back there, but it is important uh, when you're dealing with injuries in training camp. That's only gonna like sometimes that just follows you throughout the entire season. So seeing how these second string guys can hold up if needed this year, if heaven forbid Jalen Johnson or somebody else goes down in the secondary, I'm just curious to see how they perform against what's not a great wide receiver room for the Bills, but when you have the reigning MVP at quarterback, he makes them look great. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out for the time the starters are in.
Yeah, and Michael, you actually said that you wanted to talk about how yesterday after the joint practice, you didn't get any interaction with the players after practice. So, I'm a little surprised that you didn't get any interaction after practice, because when I've gone, I've always gotten to, at least uh, talk to the players that are on the field cleaning up for a couple minutes. So why don't you talk about that for a minute, and then we can, end this one, because there wasn't a lot to talk about besides our three topics that we mentioned today.
Yeah. So after practice, like they have all their families come out and then they get pictures and stuff. The only person that signed autographs to the fans that were on the field, because they signed autographs when people went on the field, was Josh Allen. And he only signed the Bills fans. Josh Allen was the only one that signed
Wow, that
with
kind of
fans.
stinks. I would love, even as a Bears fan, I would love an autograph from Josh Allen, because I
Yeah.
mean, could you imagine how much that would? I mean, I'm not saying that I would sell it, but if you're a Bills fan and you just got an autograph from the reigning MVP, I mean, that's that's worth a good amount of money. But again, I would not sell it. I'm just reiterating that I would not sell it. I'm just talking about if you needed to, I guess.
Yeah.
But again, don't, because that's a prized possession. I mean, but only Josh
But
Allen? Wow.
yeah, so now that you brought up the selling, I think that's why most players on the Bears didn't do it because like
That is a good
they were all screaming Caleb's name, but like even to like the kids, like I guess like yeah, the dad can have them go up there and then the dad will resell it, but I still think it. I don't think it looks good for the Bears. Like that's the one thing. I don't think it looks good at all for us.
that is a good point. I mean, what are your thoughts on that, Jack?
Yeah, I mean, it's always tough. Like, I've definitely noticed over the years, like, I always used to be the little kid going to like White Sox games and getting autographs, trying to get guys to sign stuff while they're stretching. And the success rate of that definitely declined as I got older. But like Michael mentioned, like, it was for kids and adults alike. So I think it's always a touchy subject because you never know, like, what the guys were told before practice, like, hey, get off the field, so and so. But it is like a little bit of a tough look when a lot of people are going out to see these guys play and not even little kids are getting any attention. So don't want to make too big of a deal of it, but it is something interesting to bring up.
Yeah, I mean, when I was going to the practices and I got tickets for Bears training camp, the first year I wasn't able to bring a ball or anything for a signing because that was COVID, but I met a security guard that got one of those like little foam balls and had a couple of players sign it. Uh, Allen Robinson signed it. Thomas Graham signed it, and one other person I can't think of. But then my second year, the year after that, I was able to bring a ball and get it signed, and Roquan Smith signed it. Who else? Travis Gibson and again one other person that I can't think of. And it's funny now that I think about when I got Roquan Smith to sign it, I asked him to do one favor for me, and I think that he did it even though he was traded. And that one favor that I asked him was to kill Aaron Rodgers. Not literally, I just meant sack him a couple times. But I think he did hold up on that promise before he was traded. But it was just a funny little conversation that me and him had before he was traded to Baltimore. And he's doing great in Baltimore, and I'm still a fan of him. So um, who knows? Maybe he'll see this. Uh,
Yeah.
but I think that's going to be all for today. There wasn't much to talk about after our three topics that we mentioned, and we'll have a podcast about that game tomorrow night in a couple of days. Monday or Tuesday would probably be my shoot day. Would be my guess. I actually have to go to the DMV on Monday, so it might have to be Tuesday. But I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast, and thanks guys for coming on real quick and talking about this stuff. And I will see you guys Tuesday.
Okay.
Let me end this.